Ok, j'y vais là. Bonsoir, good evening, everyone. Bienvenue. We will now call the meeting to order. Madame la greffière.
Deputy Mayor, all public meetings of Moncton City Council are simultaneously translated. Hearing devices are available. You have the right to address City Council in the official language of your choice. Meetings are also simulcast in both languages on the City of Moncton's YouTube channel and can be found on our website at moncton.ca. If you're registered with the City Clerk's office prior to the agenda deadline, 7 days before the meeting, you'll be given 5 minutes for your presentation. Other public presentations will be given 2 minutes. You will receive a reminder when 1 minute is remaining. Please note, no presenter shall speak disrespectfully of council, staff, or a member of the general public. The use of offensive or profane language will not be tolerated. Any breach of this guideline may result in the presenter being asked to leave the council chambers at the discretion of the chair. Notre service d'interprétation simultanée est offert durant nos réunions. Vous avez le droit de parler dans la langue officielle de votre choix. Les casques d'écoute servant la traduction sont disponibles. Ces réunions sont diffusées en français et en anglais sur la plateforme YouTube. Les réunions sont également diffusées sur l'Internet à moncton.ca. Si vous vous êtes inscrit auprès du bureau de la greffière avant la date limite, c'est-à-dire 16 jours avant la séance, vous aurez 5 minutes pour effectuer votre présentation. Toute présentation du public aura droit à 2 minutes. Aucun présentateur ne devra manquer de respect lorsqu'il parlera du Grand Conseil, d'un membre du personnel ou du grand public. Le langage blasphématoire et les propos offensants ne seront pas tolérés. Le président ou la présidente pourra demander à tout présentateur qui enfreint cette directive de quitter la salle du Conseil.
Merci, Madame la greffière. Nous avons un ordre du jour.
Oui. Il y a-t-il des changements?
Est-ce qu'il y a des changements à l'ordre du jour? Il n'y en a pas?
Non.
Donc, j'ai besoin de quelqu'un pour proposer et d'appuyer. Donc, conseiller Légère et conseiller Kingston. Donc, on demande un vote. Donc, le vote est levez la main, s'il vous plaît, si vous êtes en faveur. So, merci. Merci à tous. Thank you. Madame la greffière.
Adoption of conflict of interest, les déclarations des conflits d'intérêts.
Est-ce qu'il y a des conflits d'intérêts, conflicts of interest? Non.
L'adoption of minutes, adoption du procès-verbaux de la réunion du 2 décembre of the regular public meeting of December 2nd.
So we have the minutes before you. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the minutes, please? Conseiller Steves and Conseiller Légère. Any questions? So on the questions, all those in favor signify by a show of hand. Donc, tout le monde, so motion carried.
Okay.
Madame la greffière.
Next is consent agenda, les questions soumises par l'approbation du Conseil. And this evening, we have street closure pour les funérailles d'Antoine Maillet.
So do we need a motion for that,
Yes.
Madame la greffière? So could I have a mover and a seconder for that, Conseiller Légère, Conseiller Edgett? Any questions?
This is a vote.
Je comprends pas, il y a une question?
No.
Donc, so on the questions, all those in favor?
We're going to vote electronically on this.
Oh oui, excusez-moi.
C'est correct.
Électronique, donc c'est beau. Motion carried unanimously. Merci.
Next are public and administration presentations, and we have one public presentation, les exposés du public ce soir. Presentation from Ola, New Brunswick, Ana Lucia Perez. If you can make your way to the podium.
Bonsoir. Thank you for being here this evening. Go ahead, please.
Can you just push the button? There you go.
Good afternoon, members of the Council, esteemed guests, and members of our community. My name is Milene de la Rosa. My colleagues, Ana Lucia Perez and Ana Santana. We are honored to be here representing Hola New Brunswick. Our organization is dedicated to supporting primarily Latin American newcomers in their settlement journey. Today, we will share insights of the Hola Registered Newcomers and the Hola Survey 2025, shedding light on their education, school choice, the impact of recent immigration policy change, and efforts we make to help newcomers integrate into their new communities. Monton has seen an increasing number of Latin American migrants over the past years. The largest growth of Latin American newcomers come from Colombia, Mexico, Chile, and the Dominican Republic. These communities are bringing invaluable skills, culture, and diversity to Monton. The largest immigration status upon arrival is international students. Most of them and their families become permanent residents a few years after arrival. There are also newcomers that arrive with closed work permits and other status. 50% of the Latin American newcomers' families arrive with children. Francophone school selection, and 82% of children aged 5 to 10 who arrived between 2024 and 2022 are enrolled in Francophone schools. This trend is important in increasing bilingualism in our community.
Good afternoon. I will continue with the presentation. We asked the Latin American newcomers what is their highest academic level achieved. 10% have college or technical degree, 39% have a bachelor's degree, 45% have 1 or 2 master's degree, and only 2% have PhDs. They indicated having training and experience in many important areas. However, 53% expressed that it is difficult or very difficult to find employment in their fields, while 24% express that it is as impossible. This highlights a significant issue that we as a community must help to address. Hola New Brunswick offers pre-arrival workshops, in-person organization sessions, and specialized workshops to help newcomers be prepared and navigate their new environment. In 2024-2025 alone, over 939 newcomers participated in Hola activities, which focus on initial needs such as finding housing, enrolling in school, children in school, employment readiness, access to public services, and other important topics. Regarding the new immigration policies, our survey found that 56% of respondents expressed that their immigration process has been impacted. Their testimonies speak of uncertainty, frustration, and the constant need to modify their carefully thought-out plans to ever-changing regulations. As one respondent said, "We arrived with Plan A, moved to Plan B, and are now on Plan G. It has been heartbreaking and exhausting." Overall, newcomers bring skills, experience, and a deep desire to help our community grow and prosper. It is important that we all work together in welcoming and including newcomers and their families to ensure that Moncton remains a united, thriving home for all. Thank you for your time and your commitment to this important conversation. And at Hola, we look forward to working together for a stronger and more inclusive future.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I believe we have some questions. Conseiller Bourgeois.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Maire. Muchas gracias. Deux commentaires. Would you prefer in English? In English. I strongly encourage your group to encourage your members to continue speaking in Spanish or Portuguese for Brazilians. It is a huge individual benefit but also it would enrich our community as well. So for your children, the research is very obvious. Anybody who speaks more than one language has between 2 and 3 years of life without catching mental diseases like Alzheimer's or other dementia if you speak more than one language. So it's their benefit, but also for jobs, obviously, opportunities and everything else. I have a question. In my councillor's statements later on, I will propose that council invite the federal candidates to the federal election of April 28th in order to ask them, all the parties, all the candidates, what their party or themselves personally will be doing for X, Y, Z, whatever issue. Would you like us, if we go ahead with it, if the candidates accept, would you like us to ask them what their platform, party, their individual themselves, their candidates, would do for immigration or in the field of immigration over the next 4 years? Would that be a good question to ask, or would you rather ask yourselves?
So that's, thank you very much for your question. That is a very important topic. And I believe that our community would be interested in seeing your questions to them, but also perhaps contributing with some questions of their own. I don't know if it's possible, but that would be wonderful, and I think that they would like to participate.
Okay, if so, there's a lot of ifs. If council agrees, if the candidates accept, if we can find a venue in time, I'll give you my email address. You can send me the question or questions that you would like to be asked. Danielle.bourgeois@moncton.ca.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, merci, Madame la Maire.
Merci, Conseiller Bourgeois. Any other questions? Conseiller Léger.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for, I'm over here. There you go. Yeah. Thanks for the presentation. A suggestion might be as well to ask that you present at the Chamber of Commerce, their next meeting. I think it's important. There has been, I'm told, a lot of movement from business entities to take a look at this was a blanket decision federally in terms of limiting immigration across the country, but yet not every province are in the same scenario as others. And so I know there's been some discussions back and forth. It is timely with the federal election because I think that, you outline some of the strengths that people from away bring to our community, and I think it would be very important. And they're a very strong voice within our community in New Brunswick, and certainly I think that would be, extremely helpful. And again, I think the more you tell your story, I think that it's important that we truly understand that you didn't cause the problem, of lack of affordable housing and all of the issues that we have. Long ago, we were talking about our main issue in many provinces was the lack of workers. And so, but no one obviously looked closer to say, well, when the workers arrive, they actually have to have a place to live. And there were a variety of different other factors, as you know, that happened. So the blame shouldn't be on one particular area. I think collectively we can work strongly together, and so I think that would be, certainly something the Chamber of Commerce would can be helpful with. And as a city, as you know, we're trying our best to increase the amount of affordable housing and housing in general. It doesn't help in terms of the recognition of skills that you bring, but yet the province has moved quite forward with that recently. So again, through your MLAs, give the same message, and I think it will be reinforced. So thank you for coming, and certainly please send your questions because I think it's really important. So thank you, merci.
Merci, Conseiller Léger. Thank you again for coming. Your work is really important for our city, and the work that you're doing is also about ensuring the quality of life, not only of your community, but of all of us. So thank you for being here. Bonne chance. Merci.
Thank you.
Our
Madame la
next-
Greffière.
Oui, our next presentation is an administration presentation, les exposés de l'administration. C'est une présentation sur la culture et le patrimoine. Ça sera fait par Sophie Cormier, directrice de Resurgo.
Bonsoir, Madame Sophie.
Bonsoir, Madame la mairesse adjointe, conseiller et conseillère. Je ne vous ferai pas répéter après moi ce soir, fait que c'est correct, vous pouvez relaxer. There's no lessons you need to learn, or I'm just going to give you information. I want to say that we did work with our friends at Olea New Brunswick. They had a Welcome to Moncton event at our place, and last weekend we actually had an event with the Arab Culture Club at Resurgo Place as well. So happy to be the hub of many newcomers and new activities in town. Still, do I do this to change? Oh, perfect. I'm going to talk to you about a bunch of stuff that's happening this year at Resurgo Place and with our Heritage Building and our Visitor Information Center, so everything that the department covers. We'll talk exhibition, programs, public art, capital project, and pilot project. I'll start with the exhibitions. Currently, we have the exhibition Might and Light. That's on display all the way to April 27th. So if you want to come and see that, that's about black powder from China to America, how it evolved and how it changed. Cet été, nous allons avoir une exposition sur Gérald Leblanc. C'est une exposition que nous avons créée nous-mêmes. Je vais vous en parler un petit peu plus dans la suite. Cet automne, after having the Gérald Leblanc exhibition, we will have Revealing Chignecto, The Story Within, which has been created by Parks Canada, and that's going to start September 20th. But just because we were not busy enough creating a summer exhibition, we're going to have another one that we create this fall, which is going to be More Than Fire, about the firefighters, what their new roles are, what they do now. So that's going to be coming since they're celebrating their 150th anniversary. Gérald Leblanc, notre exposition va s'appeler « Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire venir de Moncton ?» Gérald Leblanc, 1945-2005. Donc, cette année, on célèbre le 80e anniversaire de naissance de Gérald, ou on commémore le 20e anniversaire de son décès. Nous, on a une exposition, on va l'avoir tout l'été. L'exposition va commencer le 17 mai et va se terminer le 7 septembre. Pour cette exposition-là, on a eu la chance d'être approuvé pour emprunter des archives de Gérald qui sont gardées à Bibliothèque et Archives Canada, donc à Ottawa. On va recevoir une vingtaine de pièces des archives qui ont été sélectionnées par le conservateur de l'exposition, Marc Chamberlain, qui travaille avec nous. On a aussi emprunté un nombre, environ une trentaine d'artefacts qui viennent de la communauté, qui viennent du musée acadien de l'université, qui viennent des amis de Gérald, qui viennent des personnes qu'il connaissait, qui ont créé des choses. Donc, on va avoir vraiment une belle exposition communautaire sur le legs de Gérald, sur qu'est-ce qu'il a laissé à la ville, qu'est-ce que ça voulait dire pour lui de venir de Moncton, comment il a influencé la ville de Moncton. Le vernissage sera le 30 mai. On va envoyer l'invitation à tout le monde pour que vous puissiez mettre ça à votre agenda. Et donc, on a bien hâte de voir ça. Je vous montre un petit peu qu'est-ce qu'on a de créé pour commencer. Et un petit tease sur les objets qu'on va avoir. Donc, quand je vous dis qu'on recrée 3 espaces, je pense que vous pouvez deviner qu'un des 3 espaces sera le cachot. Donc, ça s'en vient cet été. Le 150e anniversaire of the firefighters. So 150 years of firefighting in Moncton started in 1875. We received a grant from the province to help the commemoration. The commemoration will have an exhibition this fall, but it's not just the exhibition. It's going to be things year-round. One of the things you can see already is the new badge that the firefighters have on their cap, which says 1875. That's going back to the original badge. We also will have logos on the trucks, a social media post. There's going to be a retiree barbecue. That's June 11th. That's for the retired firefighters that are going to be present. There's going to be something special for them at that barbecue as well. For the general public, there's going to be a show and tell at Centennial Park. That's going to be August 9. So come and meet the firefighters, see their equipment, see what they do. Banners downtown, and our exhibition, which is going to be starting October 4th. So that's it for exhibition for now. We do a lot of programs and activity. Currently, we have Discovery Lab. That's every Sunday. We have a different partner that comes and features what they normally do. A lot of our partners are seasonal or currently don't have a museum like Science East, so they come on Sunday, they take part of our learning center, and they interact with the public. It's great for them, it's great for us, it's great for the visitors. So that's one that we do. We will also have Walk-in Wednesday again for people who are not familiar with Walk-in Wednesday. That is actually on Wednesday. And it's to come and visit our resource room. So if you come, you have a question, you want to know who lived in your house before, when your house was built, that type of stuff, you can come in on Wednesday without an appointment. You just walk in the afternoon and you can use our resource center and people are there to help you. During the summer, we tend to get out because it's nice and people are all over the city. So we have 3 programs that are outreach during the summer. Title board presentation, whenever the board is coming, half an hour before you come in, the amphitheater, we tell you all the science behind it, you look at it, go by, and then we can discuss more after that if you want to. There's also riverfront walks that actually go backward in history. It starts at the Centennial Monument with Salter and kind of go back through history. Resurgo on the go is when we just use our bicycle and we drop in a different location and we tell you about the heritage of that place, that building, that park, wherever we're going to be. That's all through our social media. You can find out where we're going to be, when we're going to be there. Obviously, we'll have Heritage Week this fall again. Truth and Reconciliation Day, we participate in most of the festivals that are in town. If you were at Polar Fest last winter, if you went into the igloo, you would have seen us. So a lot of programs and activity coming in. With those, we also have school programs. So school groups come to visit Resurgo Place, and not just during the end of the year, not just May and June, although May and June for us is called school group season because we've got some pretty much every day. But thanks to our 2 programs, we have one program that runs September to April and one that's specifically for May and June. We actually receive school group year-round. And we've had school group mostly from the greater Moncton area, but also from Miramichi, from PEI, from Nova Scotia sometimes. So they come from different places. One of the things I want to talk about specifically this year, because it's new and it's going very well, is our educational kit. So back during the pandemic, we figured out that they couldn't come to us, we couldn't go see them, and something was needed. Back in the days, there used to be educational kits, but that had stopped going out. So we asked for a grant, which we got, and we managed to repurpose, revamp, redo our educational kit to make them adapted to teaching in this day and age. And since we've launched them, they haven't stayed on the shelf. The people are really enjoying them. Different schools are getting them and using them. Apparently very user-friendly, very fun. We're getting a survey. We've got subject that people want us to explore. So far, we've got 2 different ones. So we've got shipbuilding and early school. We were asked for railway governance, not on the wrong sheet. Railway governance, monuments. So these other subjects will be coming up as well eventually. And that's completely free for the school to rent, and anywhere in the province, any school that wants it can have it for free. The only thing we ask is that they pay for the transportation. Most of the time, somebody comes to Resurgo Place and pick it up, so it doesn't really cost them anything. But in case that they would be up north or around Edmundston or Fredericton or St. John, if they want to borrow them, we just ask that they pay for the transportation. The rest is up to them. So that's what we're doing with the school group right now. Public art, as you already know, you've approved Spirit of Reconciliation, so that's being built right now. And I think Joanne's going to come and do a presentation about the cultural plan in June, so you might actually see the work in progress. I've seen Brian at work on the structure. It's going to be quite impressive. This should be launched with the opening of the building in September of this year. Capital project, which is one of the main reasons why I'm here. We have a few things happening at Resurgo Place this summer and at Thomas Williams House. Parking lot modification, it's just so 18-wheelers can deliver exhibitions. Stairs, that's from Mountain Road to the main entrance because people are using the grass and we don't want them to fall. The leak, you've heard about it before. It's the cow catcher at the in the Transportation Discovery Center. It's going to be fixed as soon as it's nice. And the Thomas Williams House, it's the overall envelope. So I'm showing you here a little bit of why we need to really plug these leaks right now. We've got a maglev, which is one of the interactive that the younger children can use first. At some point, there was a jump in it because the material had lifted, and then it stopped working, so we had to do some repairs, and we don't want to have to keep doing that over and over. So finally, we can have that leak, well, I should say leaks plural, because there's more than one, but that can be fixed, and that's going to go through. Thomas Williams House, most of what's going to be done you won't see once it's done because it's the envelope. So it's going to be new stairs in the front, new stairs in the back, some repairs, some removal of a door, all in accordance with the heritage property. The one thing that you will notice eventually is that the lilac edge is going to be removed. And that's going to be replaced by a white picket fence. So we're going back to the original picket fence that you can see on the right here. And Thomas Williams House is going to be closed this summer because of all the repairs and all that. It would have been too hard to keep it open. So that's one of the major impact of those repairs is that the house is going to be closed. Visitor information, we have Trace House that's seasonal. Resurgo Place is year-round. The airport has a kiosk there. We are modifying that kiosk. We wanted to renew it completely, but because they're going to renew the terminal and our contract ends in 2017 with them, we're just going to modify it this year to make it more interactive. We're going to add a screen and a few different things so people at the airport get the information they need, because there's less and less brochures. And we're going to have a pilot project at Magnetic Hill. So we're going to have a visitor information center at the Wharf Village for 1 year as a pilot project to see if it works well over there, if it brings more people in town, if it answers a need. And I think that's about it. I think if you have any questions, I'm here.
Merci Sophie. Conseiller Bourgeois.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la maire. Merci beaucoup, Sophie, pour la présentation. Une couple de questions. Pardonne mon ignorance, là, mais est-ce qu'on a, à la fois pour les touristes, mais même pour les nouveaux arrivants? Moi, il y en a qui m'ont demandé, regarde, on ne connaît pas Moncton, où est-ce qu'on va pour connaître Moncton? Moi, je les envoie à Resurgo, c'est probablement le meilleur point d'entrée, mais est-ce qu'on a une application QR code? Les gens pourraient aller pour soit l'ordinateur ou soit dans un des établissements, puis il y aurait comme un guide, carte des sites patrimoniaux qui existent dans la ville, comme par exemple la plaque pour l'Évangéline, telle chose. Mais est-ce qu'on a ça?
Il y a une carte interactive culturelle qui est sur le site de la ville de Moncton. Il y a aussi un guide des nouveaux arrivants. Puis ça, je pense que je demanderais peut-être à Kevin s'il y a des choses plus à dire dessus. Je ne sais pas s'il y a un QR code avec le guide, mais il y a un guide pour les nouveaux arrivants de Moncton.
Sur le téléphone?
Je ne sais pas. Kevin, est-ce que le guide est sur le téléphone? Is the guide online or is it just... It's online, but it's not an app, I don't think.
En tout cas, vous prenez ça comme suggestion. Là, je trouve que ça serait une idée à la fois pour les touristes surtout.
En améliorant le kiosque à l'aéroport, on va pouvoir mettre le QR code, le lien au site, les guides vont être là aussi. Donc, ça va... La plupart arrive at the airport, so we're hoping they'll notice when they get there. And we work with Moncton Care as well, so they often welcome people, so make sure that they know.
Parfait.
But send
Merci.
them to Resurgo Place, that's the right place.
Pardon?
Send them to Resurgo Place, that's the right place.
Oui, OK, parfait. C'est l'outil d'aujourd'hui, ça. Des rénovations à Trades House, j'ai jamais eu de problème avec les sites patrimoniaux qui sont, il faut qu'on l'admette, britanniques, loyalistes. Combien d'argent, comment ça fait longtemps que tu es là?
Ça fait 7 ans.
Combien d'argent que la Ville de Moncton a investi dans Trades House, Williams House?
Les budgets opérationnels sont très, très petits parce que c'est juste pour les employés, les différentes choses. Les budgets fonctionnels, on paye les taxes, on paye les différentes choses. Ça, c'est des choses qui... They're in our budget, but I don't have any influence on them, so I have to say I don't really look at the aspects of that are like, recurring and everything. As far as repairs, we didn't have to do anything until now with the Thomas Williams House. Trades House is fine, Free Meeting House is fine. I mean, it's got a coat of paint at some point that was within like recurring maintenance and in the budget. We had one issue with Thomas Williams House, which prompted actually facilities to decide to do this whole envelope thing. But as far as the budget for that envelope, I'll let Alex answer. They actually had planned for even more, but I guess it's better preserved than we thought, so it's a good news.
Je voulais juste un estimé, là, depuis 10 ans, 20 ans.
I'll be
peu
able
importe.
to, I'll follow up with you. I'll send you the information if you want.
Okay.
Like I'll look, I have it in my notes, but I don't have it.
Parfait. Combien est-ce qu'on a investi dans les sites patrimoniaux acadiens?
We don't own them. That's the problem. It's the site patrimoniaux.
Williams House puis Trades House?
Ceux-là, oui. Ceux-là sont,
Oui, OK.
mais ils ne sont pas des sites acadiens. Les sites acadiens, s'il y en a, ou qu'est-ce qu'il y a, c'est plus la ville de Dieppe ou l'Université de Moncton. We did put the plaque last year for Beau Soleil Beausart, so that was one thing we did for the Acadiens.
Ça, c'est pas nous. Ça, c'est PAC Canada, c'est
Yes.
Patrimoine canadien. La Ville de Moncton, puis je veux pas un débat, là. La Ville de Moncton entretient 2 édifices patrimoniaux britanniques loyalistes. Puis je m'oppose aucunement à ça. Au contraire, j'encourage ça. Mais on fait rien proche d'équivalent pour le patrimoine acadien. Correct?
Yes.
OK.
Can I just put a little thing in
Oui.
there? For the museum itself, we have a division of responsibility, so the museums don't collect the same thing. So anything that's Acadian, if it was offered to me or the Moncton Museum, we would actually redirecting it to the University of Moncton, because they're the one that collect Acadian artifact, Acadian stuff. I'm not addressing the buildings, but I'm just saying, as far as the collections, we divide it to not overlap and to not deplete one collection or the other.
OK, mais si tu lances le débat, moi, je suis prêt à lancer dedans, Sophie. Ça fait... En tout cas, ma prochaine question, c'est... On n'appuie pas le patrimoine acadien parce qu'il n'y en a plus. Ça a tout été détruit dans la déportation. On laisse faire le débat historique, militaire et tout ça, si c'était nécessaire ou pas. Mais on sait qu'il y a quand même des sites acadiens. Un vieux moulin, il y avait une vieille chapelle proche de jusqu'à Marvin's, ou Marvin's, je m'en souviens pas qu'est-ce que c'est, là, mais Marvin's Building, en tout cas. Il y avait un vieux moulin juste avant la frontière avec Salisbury. Il y avait le village de Joseph Broussard, dit Beau Soleil, juste à l'extérieur, Salisbury. Mais il y avait d'autres villages acadiens. Je ne sais pas s'il reste grand-chose, ça a tout été brûlé, détruit, etc. Mais on sait où ils sont, puis il y a peut-être encore des présences. Ça fait, je sais qu'il y a un groupe, Nation Prospère Acadie, qui est responsable d'avoir convaincu PAC Canada de mettre une plaque en l'honneur de Joseph Broussard dit Beau Soleil. Nation Prospère Acadie aimerait explorer, faire une étude de faisabilité est-ce qu'on peut réhabiliter certains de ces sites patrimoniaux acadiens-là, le long de la Petite-Kodiak, pas juste à Moncton, mais le long de la Petite-Kodiak? Fait, ma question, grande introduction, mais ma question, c'est comment est-ce que la ville de Moncton ferait pour aider Nation Prospère Acadie à soumettre une demande à l'APK, par exemple, gouvernement du Nouveau-Brunswick, qui sont les bailleurs de fonds principaux, peut-être faire une campagne de financement privé pour accompagner tout ça, je ne sais pas, là, mais au moins faire l'étude de faisabilité qui répondrait à ces questions-là, en l'honneur de la présence acadienne d'avant 1755, qui est notre préhistoire, en fait, compte. Là. Il y avait des Acadiens ici, puis des Mi'kmaq encore, avant l'arrivée des familles fondatrices de la Pennsylvanie. Là. Ça fait comment est-ce qu'on ferait comme ville? Est-ce que vous avez des employés qui pourraient les accompagner dans la préparation d'une demande de financement?
La meilleure chose, ce serait qu'ils me contactent moi, puis ce serait éventuellement en partenariat avec l'Université de Moncton ou le Centre d'études d'Anselme Chiasson. C'est de cette façon-là qu'on fonctionne de façon générale. On en avait fait une sur le Musée d'art contemporain dans le passé. Donc, quand il y a des études de faisabilité ou des choses qui peuvent être faites, on accompagne les gens, on les aide à faire leur demande de subvention, on leur mentionne c'est quoi l'appui de la ville par rapport au projet, dépendant de ce que c'est. S'il y a des appuis nécessaires qui sont financiers, on revient au conseil pour demander si c'est simplement de l'appui moral d'une certaine façon. Bien, d'habitude, on peut le faire par nous-mêmes. Donc, oui, il y a possibilité. Ils ont juste à nous contacter. Moi, je contacte les collègues au niveau de l'université. On se fait une rencontre, puis on peut voir comment on peut aller de l'avant.
OK. Là, je vais ajouter une autre question parce que je suis confus, là. Quand est-ce que c'est du patrimoine loyaliste britannique, on le fait nous-mêmes? Quand est-ce que c'est du patrimoine acadien, on donne ça à l'Université de Moncton?
De façon générale, pas l'an dernier, quand on a eu notre 50e anniversaire, on a refait notre politique de collection. Notre politique de collection nous fait collectionner à partir des townshippers jusqu'à nos jours, donc à la Fondation de Moncton jusqu'à nos jours, pour le Musée de Moncton. Puis le patrimoine acadien se retrouve à l'université. Donc, tout ce qui est collection acadienne, c'est l'université qui garde. Tout ce qui est collection ville de Moncton reliée à notre héritage de la ville, c'est nous autres qui gardons. Tout ce qui est collection nature s'en va au Musée du Nouveau-Brunswick. Donc, chaque institution divise le patrimoine pour pas que les collections se chevauchent et pour que les gens puissent savoir où aller quand ils ont besoin d'une certaine chose. Parce qu'on ne peut pas avoir toutes les spécialités. Mais de façon générale, on collabore très, très bien avec l'Université de Moncton. On fait une exposition sur Gérard Leblanc. Ça aurait pu très bien être fait à l'Université de Moncton. Ça va être fait chez nous. On va faire de l'histoire orale avec un des groupes qui ont gradué du collège qui va être changé par le DFO. Là. Donc, on a vu, quand on a fait nos portes ouvertes l'année dernière, il y a eu plein de personnes qui sont venues, de femmes qui avaient gradué ensemble. Donc, on va faire l'histoire orale de ça. C'est parce que ça fait partie de la ville de Moncton. C'est en français, c'est acadien. On va le partager avec le centre d'études. C'est notre initiative quand même de le faire. Quand on fait les promenades riveraines, on se rend jusqu'au monument acadien. Il est à Dieppe, bon, on se rend pareil. Donc, on fait, quand je vous dis, on fait l'histoire à reculons. On commence avec le shipbuilding, on recule aux townshippers, on recule aux Acadiens, puis en revenant, on parle des Premières Nations. Donc, on fait vraiment tout le tour de l'histoire quand on fait la promenade riveraine.
C'est juste parce que je veux faire un commentaire final, puis après ça, c'est... Si on se déclare ville bilingue, officiellement bilingue, on se brague de ça. On est la seule cité du Canada qui est bilingue. Mais c'est pas juste la langue, c'est la culture, c'est le patrimoine, etc. Puis je trouve qu'on est faible par rapport au patrimoine canadien, comparativement au patrimoine royaliste. Ça, c'est mon jugement de valeur, je n'ai pas besoin de débat. Mais je vais juste finir là-dessus. Merci beaucoup pour la présentation. Merci pour les réponses. C'est bien apprécié. Merci, Madame la maire.
Merci, conseiller Bourgeois. Conseiller Kingston, s'il vous plaît.
Merci, Madame Harris. We are on. Thank you. Bonsoir, Sophie.
Hello.
This is kind of a blatant plug for the Moncton Fire Department on the 150th book, which to me is almost a work of art. The yearly calendars were amazing. This is staggering, and it's the pictures of Moncton of old, the newspaper coverage going back to the early part of the century. Mr. Cochran covered some of those fires over the years. I'm not dating you, Al, but I'm just promoting it, and a job well done to the people that put that together. It's an astounding collection of photos, fire department members, equipment, and the coverage going back to the early part of the century. So if you haven't got a copy of the 150th, folks, find one in Moncton. I got mine at Sterling Apples, another blatant plug there for Sterling's off Shediac Road, but they're around the city at different locations. So I encourage you all to pick one up. It's a historical biography and a very comprehensive record of Moncton of old, especially through the MFDI. So job well done to the Moncton Fire Department, and it's a big anniversary year. Thank you, Sophie. Merci.
The credit for that book goes entirely to Al McNutt.
Yes.
So I really want to thank Al for his tireless work that he's done. It's essentially, it's a page turner. You can actually see lots of pictures, lots of newspaper article. Everything is well put together. It's a good book. We do have it at Resurgo Place as well, if you want to buy it there. But any location works.
Good. Thank you, Sophie. Merci. Thank you, Madame Adas. Thank you very much.
Merci, conseiller Kingston. Merci beaucoup, Sophie. Non, je vois pas d'autres questions. Est-ce que les photos des pompiers, est-ce que c'est jusqu'à quand l'exposition?
L'exposition va être cet automne, donc c'est du 4 octobre, c'est là pour 2 mois, donc octobre-novembre.
Et donc, l'exposition de Gérald, c'est de quelle date à quelle date?
Je veux pas compter les menteries. Du 17 mai au 7 septembre.
Donc, ça va se rejoindre un peu. Je suis certaine que Gérald aura un grand sourire de voir son exposition avec celle des pompiers. Mais merci pour le travail. Puis que de souvenirs de Gérald et du cachot aussi, hein?
J'espère que tout le monde va venir voir l'exposition puis que vous allez laisser des souvenirs aussi parce qu'on prévoit avoir un endroit où vous pouvez écrire vos souvenirs et on a même une dactylo, so we're going to have a typewriter that you can use and leave a message, leave a poem, write something, make a social commentary, you know, just all in Gérald's spirit.
Merci beaucoup, Sophie. Merci. Je vois l'autre Sophie aussi. Merci. Merci à vous deux. Madame la greffière.
Our next items are planning matter, des questions d'urbanisme, and the first one up today is an introduction of a zoning bylaw amendment at 2 McLaughlin Drive, and I see that Sarah Anderson is here to give us the lowdown on this.
Bonsoir, Sarah.
Bonsoir. Right. So this is an application to amend the permitted uses in the NC zone, which is the neighborhood convenience zone, at 2 McLaughlin Drive, and that is to permit residential units on the main floor. So the subject property is located in the Sunnybrae area, and that is in Ward 1. So the property is located on the west side of the intersection of McLaughlin Drive and Elmwood Drive. This part of Sunnybrae has a pretty good mix of commercial and some medium-density residential uses. In terms of the surrounding zones, it's mainly NC, neighborhood convenience, which is that pink color. There's also some R2U, which is an urban dwelling zone, some R2, two-unit dwelling zone, and some MU, which is the mixed-use zone. So here we see a rendering of the proposed project. It's proposed to be 3 stories in height. There are 10 residential units, including 2 residential units on the main floor. There's a medical office also proposed for the main floor, which is on that south side that we see here, which is the brick facade. So they are proposing fiber cement, wood, and cultured stone on the facade. All of these are considered to be traditional materials, which are the acceptable materials in our zoning bylaw. So here's the site plan. You can see the driveway access that's coming across the property to the south. The parking lot has 13 parking stalls and a bicycle rack. A fence is proposed around the perimeter of the site, which is to screen the property and the parking area from the abutting residential uses. There are trees and shrubs also proposed around the site as well, including some street trees along McLaughlin Drive. You can also see the commercial component that's located a little bit, it's sort of staggered a little bit, the frontage, so you can see that that commercial component is a little bit closer to the sidewalk with a walkway entrance, a walkway connecting the main entrance to the public sidewalk. So these are some elevation drawings, which just gives some views of the other sides of the building. And in terms of the recommendation, administration recommends that Moncton City Council proceed with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment being Z 222.45 for the property located at 2 McLaughlin Drive by giving first reading of the bylaw, by referring the bylaw amendment to the Planning Advisory Committee for its written views, and for setting a public hearing for May 5th, 2025 at 4 p.m. in council chambers. The amendment, if approved, should be subject to a resolution with conditions, including but not limited to a number of conditions that are listed in your report. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Merci beaucoup, Sarah. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the motion, please? Councillor Butler and Councillor Crossman. Donc, are there any questions? Councillor Crossman?
Thank you, Your Worship. Sarah, thanks for the presentation. I just have one quick question. On the map, you showed the driveway going over to Cross Street. That's going through another piece of property, that's correct?
Yes.
So that has been signed off, that has been, because I know that's an older home that is transitioned to many different things. I think there's an MLA office in there now and other things. So I just want to make sure that what I'm looking at tonight representing the citizens from Sunnybrae as well as the mayor, that this has been already established and signed off by that property owner.
Yes, it has been.
Okay, good. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thank you, Your Worship.
Merci, Conseiller Bourgeois.
Merci, Madame la maire. J'avais la même question que le conseiller Crossman, mais j'en ai un autre, mais qui n'a pas à faire avec la motion même. Ça serait après.
Après
Je
la
peux
motion.
attendre.
Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions, other questions on this? If not, we will move on to the vote. Donc, it's electronic. C'est beau. So, Conseiller Leblanc est pas là. So we have,
Yeah, Conseiller Leblanc is absent.
so we have 9 votes, right? So it's unanimous. Merci. Madame la greffière.
Merci, Madame la maire.
Je m'excuse, conseiller Bourgeois. Avez-vous une question maintenant?
Oui.
Donc, allez-y.
Merci beaucoup. You're the vulnerable person about to answer this question, but I was reading the documentation over the weekend, and it came to mind, we receive these requests. Are there any requests from developers or others, individuals, that do not come to council, that are submitted to planning, but you guys and girls say, no, that's not going to fit, we're going to, refuse?
Yes, very many. A lot come to the planning department. We get a lot of tire kickers, if you will. We get a lot of people who are proposing to do things that may not necessarily align with policies or the vision in the municipal plan.
Out of 100, how many of them are, like you say, maybe not to say that very trivial, minimal, detail that don't respect policies or don't respect the legislation or regulations or whatever it is, and how many are big ticket items?
So how many do we sort of get, and then how many actually go forward?
That do not come to council?
Gosh, it's hard to say. There's a number of, I would say maybe 30 to 40% don't come to council.
Okay, so out of 100, 30 to 40 do not come to council. Out of those 30 to 40, I would suspect the vast majority of them are minor issues, but they don't respect the legislation for whatever. How many of those 30 to 40% are significant developments but don't make it to council?
If it's a significant development, for the most part, if there's a lot invested in it, they make it work. If it's in that, they come forward knowing what the rules are. They come forward with a vision that is pretty much in line with there may be a couple of variances, but typically it's aligned with what we're looking for and outlined in the municipal plan.
Because I've never heard of a developer that had a big project that was blocked by staff, but I have some on the trivial stuff, and to me, it's, well, you know, the law says this, we're not going to go against this, or the bylaw or the zoning, but they are entitled to appeal.
Absolutely, and they are entitled to make an application. We always make
Right.
that very clear, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
but-
we will work with them.
My concern, and you've alleviated it, is that there's no major project that stops at planning. It comes to council.
Usually, like I said, as long as it's not so out of line with what the municipal plan calls for, yes.
Okay, you're opening a can of worms here.
Would we, Monsieur le Maire? Oui.
Point of order.
Yes.
We're talking about zoning regards to McLaughlin and Massey, and we're getting off into a different topic here. So
we are.
can we just stay with the agenda?
We've already voted on it.
Well, then, is this a statement of a councillor, or what are we talking about?
I'm okay. I'll
May-
do it by email. Thank you.
Conseiller Bourgeois, maybe Elaine can answer that question with Elaine.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Bourgeois, just to your question, any proponent that comes forward with a proposal is allowed to come to council. However, sometimes staff won't support it, and we'll make that clear, but we'll tell the proponent that, you know, they still are allowed to move forward with council with the risk of, you know, not having the recommendation attached.
Yeah, that would great. If it comes to council and you say, we don't recommend it, that's fine. I just don't want to council, and I'll finish on this sentence. I don't want council to be ignorant of some of these applications. If they are not, they don't fit the legislation and everything else, that's fine. I just don't want to be caught with my pants down, that's all. Sorry for bothering council. Thank you. Merci.
Merci. On est rendu.
Oui. The next is an introduction for rezoning of 1430, 1450 Elmwood Drive, and Sarah is here once again.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Good evening again. Just wait for the... Okay. All right, so another rezoning application. So this is an application to rezone 1430 to 1450 Elmwood Drive from R2 two-unit dwelling to from R2 two-unit dwelling and SC suburban commercial to R3 multiple unit dwelling. So this application will accommodate 2 apartment buildings for a total of 73 residential units on the one lot. So the subject property is located in Ward 1, and this is along Elmwood Drive. The properties are currently vacant. As you can see, the subject lots have 2 different zones on them right now, the SC, suburban commercial, and the R2. So this application aims to rezone so that there's just one zone that's a consistent zone, and that would be R3. So in terms of context, the site is surrounded by a mix of different zones and different uses. We've got some R2 two-unit dwelling. We've got SC, suburban commercial. We have ID, integrated development. And across the street, there's also the AI, which is the air industry zone. So the proposed development is in the section of Elmwood Drive that is already widened to 3 lanes, which you can see in the image on the left. This allows for a left-turning lane into the development today. There is a sidewalk on one side and a multi-use trail on the other side in this area. So the proposed development will accommodate 2 3-story apartment buildings. So Building A, which is the building at the top in this image, is proposed to have 38 units. And Building B, which is the building on the bottom sort of right-hand corner, is proposed to have 35 units. And so the total proposed count is 73 units. The surface parking is proposed to be located behind the buildings, providing a more appropriate built form at the street line. The development proposes 83 parking spaces, including 4 barrier-free parking, and outdoor bicycle parking is also located at the back. The perimeter of the lot is landscaped, and there's a proposed fence along the rear yard where it abuts the R2 zoned land. So here we see the proposed elevations of the buildings. As shown on this slide, the exterior of the buildings are composed entirely of that traditional material that includes stone on the first floor and wood siding on the second and third floors. This meets and exceeds the required design standards for multiple unit dwellings within the R3 zone. And here we see a rendering of what is proposed to be Building B. So you see the stone on the main floor and then the wood siding on the upper 2 floors. So in terms of a recommendation, administration recommends that Moncton City Council proceed with the proposed zoning bylaw amendment Z222.44 by 1, giving first reading of the bylaw, 2, referring the bylaw to the Planning Advisory Committee for its written views, and number 3, setting a public hearing for May 5th, 2025. And the rezoning, if approved, should be subject to a resolution with conditions that are listed at the end of the report. So I am happy to answer any questions.
Merci beaucoup, Sarah. We have a motion, so could I have Conseiller Crossman, you want to move the motion? And seconded by Conseiller Kingston. Merci. So any questions? Councillor Crossman?
Thank you, Your Worship. Sarah, again, thank you for the presentation. I just have 2 quick questions before this moves on to the next stage so that maybe they can be answered in the next stage.
Sure.
One of them would be since we're going to have 70 some odd residents in the building, one would be a crosswalk symbol or light, not preferably the flashing lights, preferably a red, yellow, and green. I know nobody stops at the red lights anymore, but hopefully they do when there's a pedestrian involved.
Okay.
That would be one thing. And the second thing would be capacity of the infrastructure in the area. So knowing the area well, knowing that the city's worked with the province to update this area, I'd like to confirm that that infrastructure that's currently there will actually support this project.
Yes, and we did look into that. It is. Right now, if other developments are proposed that, right now, this is in the urban boundary.
Yeah.
And so, yes, whatever capacity we have definitely includes this lot, so there's definitely capacity.
And one last thing that, now that you just mentioned that within the urban boundary, is there some way that I can share this information with the local MLAs of the area as well as Department of Transportation? Because as you know, we're trying to get Elmwood Drive widened further down.
Yeah.
And this is additional housing, this is additional support for the area. So I think this should be, if you could give me some sort of indication as to how or what you would like me to share, I would like to have that because I'm having a meeting next Monday. So I was told today, off the cuff, and I'd love to be able to present this and give this to the right channels at the province, because I know the city of Moncton has already allocated an X amount of money to the widening of Elmwood Drive for safety reasons, and I'd like to be able to push this even harder.
Sure, in whatever format you need. Is it just a part of the report or a presentation, images?
Part of even what we're seeing here today, I know this is just the, the first view of it, but if there's some way that you and I can maybe talk tomorrow,
Absolutely.
Put something together, that'd be great.
Sure, that sounds
Great. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Crossman. I believe Conseiller Richard is online. Bonsoir, bonsoir, Conseiller Richard.
Bonsoir, tu m'entends?
Oui, on t'entend très bien.
Parfait. Thanks for the presentation, Sarah. Got a question on the driveway. Just wondering why that's located on Elmwood and not on Royal Oaks Boulevard. I know Councillor Crossman mentioned the possibility of a light, but would there be possibility to move that entrance to Royal Oaks Boulevard?
The property doesn't actually abut the street. There is a strip of privately owned land that I believe is owned by the golf course that runs between the street and the subject property. It can probably be shown, you can probably see it on the aerial image in the presentation, if you could bring that back up. So it's a little bit hard to see maybe, but it is a very thin, but it is a strip of privately owned land on the left hand, and I can't highlight, I can't make the image any bigger, but it is there.
Okay, so because I can blow it up on my side.
Sure.
Between the red line and the yellow line, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
So that same red line and yellow line are on Elmwood Drive side?
On the Elmwood Drive side, so it's
Yeah, it's the same lines that are there, so I'm just wondering.
and maybe it didn't show up very well, but we definitely looked into that. But it is, because they don't have actual frontage on that street, it's not, we can't just force the driveway there through somebody else's property.
Absolutely, no, that makes perfect sense. Thanks for clarification. Merci, Madame la Maire.
Merci, Conseiller Richard. Any other questions? No? We can go to the vote, so it's electronic. So the motion has been voted unanimously in favor. Merci à tous. Madame la greffière.
The final planning matter today is a tentative amendment, amending subdivision plan, City of Moncton subdivisions, Worthington Roundabout, and Sarah's here once again.
Busy night.
Well, Sarah.
All right, so administration has received an application for subdivision from the City of Moncton to create an extension of Ayer Avenue, to create a portion of Worthington Avenue, to create a portion of Mountain Road, and for parcel 25A to be transferred to the city. And so I'll go through those through this presentation. So the subject properties are located within the Wheeler Loop, and that's located in Ward 3. The properties are located in the Ayer Avenue area, and that's behind the New Brunswick Community College and the Northwest Plaza Mall on Mountain Road. The surrounding affected zones are PS, post-secondary, which is the blue, and SC, suburban commercial, which is the pink. So this aerial image shows the location with respect to the surrounding properties in the Ayer Avenue and Mountain Road area. So the area currently has bus service on Mountain Road in front of the Community College and the Northwest Plaza Mall. And the purpose of this plan, I did go through them, but it is to create parcel 25A for transfer to the city, to extend Ayer Avenue, to create a portion of Worthington Avenue, to create a portion of Mountain Road, and to create 5-meter wide public utility easements along the proposed streets. So I will go through each of those. So in this image, the red highlights the new streets that are being considered tonight. The orange and blue areas were previously assented to by City Council in 2023. So parcel 25A, which is the long, skinny strip going south parallel to Mountain Road, that is being transferred to the city. However, upon successful approval and subsequent registration of the tentative subdivision plan, this parcel, 25A, will then be transferred to NWC Property Holdings, Inc. And so this is being done to accommodate access to their property for delivery purposes for the businesses located at 1278 Mountain Road. So also, as previously mentioned, lot 25-1009, which is hatched and outlined in blue, so that was previously assented to by council in 2023. It is being acquired from SHX Developments Limited, which is Shanex, by the city for the purposes of being transferred to the province of New Brunswick to replace parking spaces that had been taken for the construction of Worthington Avenue from the roundabout to Mountain Road and for the extension of Ayer Avenue. And this will become a parking lot for use by the community college once a follow-up parcel transfer is completed. So these are just images of the tentative subdivision plan. So this one shows the proposed location of Ayer Avenue. So the Ayer Avenue extension has been built to an urban collector minor cross-section with a right-of-way matching the existing portion of Ayer Avenue, which is 20.117 meters wide. So this typical standard road has a sidewalk on one side of the street. However, in this case, we are exceeding that standard by having a sidewalk placed on both sides of the street to match the rest of Ayer Avenue. So this tentative subdivision plan shows the proposed location of Worthington Avenue and parcel 25A. So Worthington Avenue will also be constructed to an urban collector minor road standard with a right-of-way that aligns with the existing portion of the street. So it also includes typically a sidewalk on one side, but again, in this case, we will be exceeding that by adding a multi-use trail on the north side of the avenue. And this proposed tentative plan shows the proposed location of Worthington Avenue and Mountain Road. The portion of land that's being transferred from NWC Property Holdings, Inc. to the Mountain Road right-of-way is to accommodate the upgrades at the new Worthington Avenue and Mountain Road intersection. So in terms of recommendations, the Planning Advisory Committee recommends that Moncton City Council assent to the creation of parcel 25A, assent to the extension of Ayer Avenue Public, assent to the location of Worthington Avenue Public, and assent to the location of Mountain Road Public. And happy to answer any questions.
Merci encore, Sarah. So could I have a mover and a seconder? Conseiller Butler, do you want to move? And Conseiller Steves, please, second it.
I have a
You have a
question.
question? Please go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Sarah. This is a great report. Just so when it comes back out to public and they see the map, we hadn't, I think it was last fall, that we made a motion that we didn't want the land divided up when it had to be public works or public use, that we wanted one chunk.
Maybe could you bring up the map?
Yeah, so I just don't see anything there for public use.
Do you mean LFPP? No.
So when we went to start this, parks, we had asked that when they were dividing it up, they were going to make this trail along a little bit here, a little bit there, and we had said, no, we wanted it one piece. But I don't see it on the map. I agree with the motion where you're going with the vehicles and stuff, but I'm wondering what's in this whole, when the map comes out, people are going to say, so, okay, so where is that
Where's it?
piece of property that we were asking for, that we didn't want, we had motioned that it wouldn't be broken up?
So I believe this, if I'm understanding you correctly, so when the full development for that area comes in, we'll see all of that LFPP. We'll see the trails, we'll see the area for the park, we'll see all of those things. They're still working on the final details of that sort of master planned area. This file is just for this road section, and it's really just to have that road connected so it can start to be, well, I guess it's built now, but just to formalize that road so that the connection's in, because none of the development can happen until this road was in.
Fair enough, but the first colored map that comes out on your slides, in the next one up, I believe,
This-
right there.
Yep.
It has everything marked up, but it has nothing to do with, for Parks and Rec.
No, like I said, that will come out when the master planned area, when the area is master planned. I don't know if I'm,
Well, I know what you're saying, but I see up here on this map
yep,
that we see, there's nothing marked, but we're voting, hopefully not to accept this map, just that little piece down at the end. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that, so I don't get calls saying, well, I thought there was a larger lot of property.
Right.
We had agreed upon as council.
absolutely. And yes, and that will be on another subdivision plan when the whole area comes in. But for right now, yes, it's showing that whole area, but only to provide context.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship.
Conseiller Butler. Conseiller Bourgeois.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Maire. It's just a trivial question, but why are we extending Ayer but locating Worthington? Are we not also extending Worthington? What's the difference?
Good question. I'll ask Paul Edgar, our development officer, subdivision approvals.
Yes, Councillor Bourgeois. Because we're actually truly extending Ayer Avenue at this time, it is an extension, and Worthington is not an extension because the portion from the roundabout to where it's currently built is not built yet. They are coming in this summer, so therefore it's just locating it. It's just typical terminology.
Okay. Thank you. Merci, Madame la Maire.
Merci beaucoup. No more questions. So we can go to the vote. It's electronic, right? C'est beau. Merci. So the vote is, we're unanimous, yes. Merci. Madame la greffière.
Oui, prochain, c'est les exposés des membres du conseil, statements by members of council. And we have Councillor Butler has something this evening, and I believe you do. And
Aye.
Councillor Bourgeois does as
Conseiller
well.
Butler, and then Conseiller Bourgeois, and then I'll go. Conseiller Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of things that I wanted to find out here. Back in February 10th, we had a motion in private that we voted and passed on regards to working with, and I don't want to say too much here until we get the go-ahead from Nick, and I'm sure that Nick is listening very carefully to me here. So on February 10th, we had a motion that got passed regarding the City of Moncton and the Aquatic Center, and also to work with the YMCA in the North End, but it never came out. It never came public. My understanding was that anytime that we make a motion and pass something within the private, that it should be coming out in public. Is there some reason why it wouldn't have?
Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
I don't have the details of that file. Could be a timing issue. There is an exception to that rule where if there's directions to administration, those items don't come to public for ratification. But I don't. Unfortunately, I'd have to look at what that file was and what that vote was. And we really can't discuss it here. But if you want to send me an email, I can probably.
All I'm asking for is some type of clarification why it hasn't come out. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm
I
sure
can
they
find
can
that
get
out.
that back to me. All right. The next thing is with the last meeting we had with the RCMP superintendent, I had asked for two items, to change back to reporting on the crime data on the map, the crime map, which was done. The second question was what was the clearance rate? We were talking last time about the clearance rate of crime rate, and that was on March 17th. And as of today, I still haven't got anything back, so maybe I'll leave that with Mr. Preston, that he can do that, and to find out why we haven't got the numbers back for 23 and 24, where we're going forward. They want us to go forward with 17, and we still haven't got the clearance from before, so I have to have something to compare to the known and the unknown. My third thing is that at the last meeting on February 17th, I also asked the CAO for a full report on the TransAqua March 17th. As of the date, I have not received anything and would like to know why we have, I had asked for the full report of what has happened regards to sitting with TransAqua board, and also I was advised that there was going to be something being spoken to regards to the tri-community, and I asked for a report written, and I still haven't received it. So I would want to find out why that hasn't happened and when I can expect it.
Monsieur le Gérant.
Merci. So I spoke to the two other communities, Riverview and Dieppe, and we're working on a date for the next tri-community meeting, with TransAqua being put on the agenda, and it'll be done before the end of June is the indication of having the next tri-community council meeting. As for the report, sorry, I just forgot that one. I'll get it to you hopefully by the end of this week.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship.
Merci, Conseiller Bourgeois.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Maire. Je pense pas que personne soit surpris d'apprendre qu'on est en plein milieu d'une élection fédérale. Il y a à peu près 6 mois, 7 mois, on avait organisé, la Ville de Moncton, un forum où on a invité les candidats et candidates de chaque parti qui se présentait dans les 5 circonscriptions de Moncton, provinciales. Ils sont venus accompagnés de leur chef, qui est encore mieux. Je n'ai eu aucun commentaire négatif. Tout le monde était très satisfait de ce forum-là, où le conseil de ville, au nom des citoyens et des citoyennes, on a pu poser des questions aux partis politiques et leurs candidats, et ils ont donné des réponses assez soutenues et impressionnantes de part et d'autre. Les résultats ont donné ce qu'ils ont donné. Là, maintenant, on est dans une période électorale fédérale et je fais la suggestion, si c'est possible, il reste 3 semaines. Ce n'est pas une grande campagne électorale, malheureusement, on est à mi-chemin, mais il y a probablement du temps pour organiser l'équivalent avec les candidats, candidates pour la ville de Moncton, Moncton-Dieppe, là, mais ville de Moncton, d'ici aux élections. Alors, je fais une suggestion, une demande à la direction générale d'explorer la possibilité d'organiser un événement semblable. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, conseiller Bourgeois. Est-ce que, monsieur le gérant, est-ce qu'on peut avoir une rencontre? Ça serait quand même très intéressant de pouvoir présenter c'est quoi nos grands dossiers. Donc,
Merci pour la question. Absolument, c'est quelque chose qu'on peut certainement essayer d'organiser. Comme vous l'avez mentionné, conseiller Bourgeois, je pense qu'il reste quelques semaines. Alors, demain matin, on peut en discuter durant notre revue de l'agenda, puis voir ce qu'on peut intégrer ça dans une date potentielle dans les prochaines quelques semaines. Je pense qu'il nous reste presque 3 semaines.
3 semaines exact.
Exactement. Puis on revient au conseil avec des possibilités.
Merci beaucoup.
merci. Monsieur Doucet. Donc, est-ce qu'il y a d'autres? Non, il n'y a pas d'autres. Moi, j'ai quelques mots aussi, donc je vais lire mon texte. Donc, premièrement, merci à vous tous de me permettre ce soir de prendre la parole. It's been almost a month since our mayor has been appointed to the Senate of Canada. I want to officially thank Senator Arnold for her 9 years as mayor. This position requires courage, dedication, and leadership. And even if we didn't always agree, she accomplished her goals. Ce poste n'est certainement pas de tout repos, mais c'est aussi un privilège et un honneur de travailler avec des collègues et le personnel qui nous entoure. Everyone at this table has our city at heart, and everyone wants what is best for our city. Premièrement, merci aux collègues. Nous avons la chance d'avoir un conseil engagé. Thank you, colleagues, for your support and dedication to our city. I also want to recognize the dedication of our incredible staff. During the past month, you have assisted me with my queries about so many projects and issues. You have shown what a great team that we have really at the City of Moncton. So thank you. Moncton is thriving, and along with our successes comes the challenges. Nous sommes une ville et une région en pleine croissance, mais aussi avec des défis énormes. Working in silos is no longer the norm, and we have come a long way on this. Et je tiens ce soir à remercier le maire Yvon Lapierre et le maire Andrew Leblanc de Riverview pour leur précieuse collaboration. Working together under the banner of our tri-community has certainly leveled the playing field. Merci. I totally agree with those who say that we can only be as strong as our region. Since the municipal reform, our municipality has collaborated extensively with mayors from our Southeast region, especially through the work of the Southeast Regional Service Commission. The role and responsibility of this organization are fundamental to our success as a community and as a region. We have a commonality of issues such as affordable housing, public transportation, and public safety. Les besoins de collaboration entre nos villes et nos partenaires communautaires sont une nécessité. We have many issues to address, such as social and security issues, but let's not forget that our municipality is the fastest growing CMA in the country. We cannot isolate ourselves from issues happening elsewhere. We are part of the global village, and we are already seeing the effects and impact that the tariffs war could have on our cities across the province. Donc, nous devons continuer le travail de collaboration avec tous les niveaux de gouvernement et nos réseaux communautaires. Donc, merci à vous, chers collègues. Merci pour cette présentation. Madame la greffière.
Oui. Next is reports and recommendations from committees and private meetings, et rapports et recommandations des comités et réunions à huis clos. And this evening is recommendations from a private session of February 10th, 2025. Moncton City Council, at its private meeting of February 10th, 2025, reports that the agenda for the private meeting of February 10th, 2025 was adopted and recommends the following: that Moncton City Council approve additional budget authority of $2.1 million, setting Kodiak Regional Policing Facility project and budget at $59,201,000. The background on this: a project cost was originally budgeted for $57,177,130 in 2022, which included applicable net HST at 4.286%. The cost also includes facility construction costs, professional architectures, engineering and consulting services fees, land purchase and remediation, furniture and equipment, legal fees, and contingency fund. Given a number of unforeseen factors and expenses that have arisen, administration estimates an additional budget requirement of approximately $2.1 million for the overall project and is requesting council's approval to increase the cost of the total project to $59,201,000.
Merci, Madame la greffière. Could I have a mover, Conseiller Léger, and a seconder, Conseiller Kingston? So are there questions? Conseiller Butler, sorry.
Yep. Thank you, Your Worship. We're so far along, pretty well have to support it. But I will say that I'm not in agreement with when it starts off the background, the total project cost was originally budgeted for $57,177.130. In 2022, when this started out first, it started off at $46 million, then went up to $52 million, then it went up to $56 million, and now we're going to close to 60. So the original cost was never, when we voted first, was $57 million. But I just wanted to have that on the record. Thank you.
Merci, Conseiller Butler. There are no other questions, so we could go to the vote. It's electronic. Thank you, merci. It's unanimous. Oui, yes. No,
We have
excusez-moi là.
Conseiller Bourgeois and Councillor Crossman nay votes.
So we have nay votes, Conseiller Bourgeois.
And Conseiller Crossman.
And Conseiller Crossman. Thank you, Madame la greffière.
Next is it's reports from administration, les rapports de l'administration, and there are 5 before us today, I believe. First off is city contract number W25C01AC, sewer separation, St. George Street East, contract number 1. The motion before council this evening is that city contract number W25C01AC, sewer separation, St. George Street East, contract be awarded to Eastco Construction, Inc. in the amount of $5,294,318.25, including HST, and that the budget for the project be set at $5,240,000, including net HST. Engineering, material, and contingency. It is also recommended that the contract be drafted and that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to sign the said contract and affix the corporate seal of the city of Moncton.
Merci, Madame la greffière. Could I have a mover and a seconder, Conseiller Léger? Conseiller Butler.
Conseiller Léger à commentaire.
Je m'excuse, je n'ai pas compris.
Conseiller Léger à commentaire.
Oh, you have a question, Conseiller
Thank you.
Léger. Go ahead.
Merci. Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Just a quick question. Thanks, René. So this is part of the next phase to bring us to the St. George Street construction. And so it is going to impact a significant length of Main Street from almost into, I think, into September, if I remember correctly. And so I'm just wondering what the provisions are. You did mention that you would contact some of the businesses and so on, and what are the plans? It's one of our entrances, main entrances to the city, And so maybe just elaborate on what this is going to look like and how significant will the street closures be? Will there be continual access, or will there be partial access and so on, just to have a better perspective?
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate the question. It's a bit unusual to have this project named St. George when we're actually not on St. George, but we thought it'd be really important to stress the fact that this is really what's driving the project is the sewer separation. And as you mentioned, Conseiller Leger, we plan to get this storm sewer pipe to St. George eventually in future phases. I think what's important to note here is that, yes, we do have a construction schedule that is approximately 4 months long. However, it doesn't mean that we will have street closures for 4 months. There are really different kind of pieces to this this project. If I may kind of break it down just a bit, we'll start to see some activity. One of the first phases will be to install that storm sewer pipe into the Petitcodiac River, and we'll be working into the Chateau Moncton parking lot. And that's when we'll start to impact the Riverfront Trail. So that's going to start early April. And we expect that the trail closure will probably be around about 2 months for the Riverfront Trail as a closure. So there will be a detour for that. So I think it's important to highlight as well, not only lane closures for vehicular traffic, but also that main trail, which is the Riverfront Trail. So again, cyclists and pedestrians will be directed to the north side of Main Street for that approximately 2-month period. If you look at the map that was provided, there's 2 components to the work. There's the actual pipe installation, which will be along, again, next to Chateau Moncton, but also along Main Street up to King Street. And there's also the street resurfacing program project, which I have to specify that the province of New Brunswick has also is funding this project. So what we expect to see starting in early May is the resurfacing of the components that are not involved with the pipe work. So to put it in context, it would be paving from the Dieppe city limits up to Chateau Moncton / Superstore, and also the other extremity, which would be from Mechanic Street to King Street. So the extremities of that project does not have any pipe work related to it, so that's going to be faster work because we're talking about just removing the top layer of asphalt and repaving. So that will happen in mid-May. So the bulk of the project will really be the installation of that pipe, and that's when there's going to be a lot more impact. And so the pipe itself is not the entire length of what you see on your maps. It's just from essentially Chateau Moncton to King Street. And that will happen just get my bearings here. That will happen starting in mid-May and up to about mid-July. And during those times when we're installing the pipe along Main Street, there will be some lane reductions, not lane closures, but lane reductions. As you can appreciate, on that section of Main Street, we now have 5 lanes of traffic that we can really play with. We expect there'll be 2 lanes of traffic related to the construction of the pipe. So that means at all times we expect to have at least 2-way traffic on Main Street, but it's a lane reduction. So obviously we expect there will be some impacts. The major impact will be when we're trying to cross that storm sewer pipe from the south side of Main Street to the north side. And that's the work that will take place right at King Street. That's going to be the major impact, which will be probably around a month of work just to get across there. What we're looking at from a scheduling point of view is that will happen in July, where we've seen that the traffic is a little less on our streets in July because of vacation, because there's no school. So hopefully that's going to time perfectly that way. But there will be some major detours in place and some impacts. I just want to point out we're meeting with our communications team this week, pending the approval of this contract, so we can really establish a communication plan, because we realize this is not your typical residential street reconstruction. It's got an impact. As far as the access, it's always our goal to have access to businesses open at all times. Most of these businesses have 2 driveways or a shared parking lot, so we will only close 1 access at a time, so there will be some communication as part of that. So hopefully I kind of explain some of these, or kind of share some of these concerns, and we understand there's going to be some impact on traffic, obviously, But again, working with our communications department, we hope that we will mitigate these impacts.
And then the total project is expected to be finished in September.
That's correct. Right now, early September is what our completion date is, and depending on the progress and how many crews the contractor decides to put on site, we've seen certain contractors finish before the completion date. We do have a bonus penalty clause in our contract, as you're aware, so that's an incentive for contractors to finish earlier. And it's definitely better for the businesses and all our users, for sure, if we can finish earlier.
So can I perhaps request that there be clear signage, because this is obviously a big project. Before I forget, when you indicated that you're going to begin the construction at Chateau Moncton, in their parking lot,
Yes.
Are they aware that we're going to be doing, have those conversations happened already? Just the trail portion is one thing, the parking lot portion is another?
Of course, yeah. Those conversations happened actually last year. In December of last year, we sent out a notice, just kind of heads up notice to all the affected businesses. The work is coming, but we had some more detailed conversations with Chateau Moncton, obviously, because we are installing a pipe through their parking lot. So there are construction easements that need to happen. So those conversations have already happened, of course. Yes.
In previous big projects like this, there were some lessons learned. Some of the businesses that may or may not have known who to call, they were surprised. All of a sudden they arrived and their driveway that was supposed to be open was now blocked, and who to call and so on. So can we get some assurance that maybe you'd have and perhaps you already have this, where there's a designated line that is very clear to the business owners and people impacted that this is what's happening? And maybe even go a little further, it would be really nice for people who don't listen to what we're discussing here today, that perhaps get their news in different forms, that we have some type of I'm a big fan of putting up a board that would indicate this is the major project on Main Street and this is what it looks like. And so you can see visually, and I've seen that in different cities where I arrive there as a visitor, and all of a sudden I'm in a construction site. But at least I know what it is that they're doing and what to expect, and also what it is that the end point is. So
yeah,
perhaps that's something we can do. And my last question is, when you do that transition from the south side to the north side, or vice versa, that's in July, I assume, because and so does that
Correct.
take you from July into September, or is it?
The actual pipe crossing Main Street, we're looking at starting early July and finishing early August. So the last part of the project would be the resurfacing of that middle block.
Okay,
Yes.
so therefore there will be periods that'll be really concentrated, and then there'll be periods where it'll just be crushed stone and it'll be rough, but people will still be able to transition and so on.
Correct, and if I appreciate the comment you made about the signage, and that's why we're meeting with our communications team this week. There's certain things that can be done. There's a proper way to go through a construction site when you have 2 lanes go down to 1 lane. It's not lining up starting in Dieppe and everyone kind of queuing. It's actually maximizing those 2 lanes and waiting until the end to merge, and what's been called a zipper merge, which has proven to increase capacity through that zone, but unfortunately people don't really use that. So we want to kind of share those thoughts with the communication team and see how we can get the message across. And we've also talked with Dieppe already on the riverfront trail closure, and that impacts our traffic as well. So there's definitely some collaborations there.
And will there be ways to encourage different routes, like encourage traffic to go different ways, so that people are, who are used to going on Main Street all the time may not necessarily choose that route. They may decide to go other routes. So there's those things. And my last point is, when I witnessed something that was really, to me, quite, it was refreshing, because the city had initiated this, and it was during the Shediac construction, because their Main Street was really blocked. And they went so far as to create some signs specifically for some businesses. So if you were entering Shediac and you wanted to go to the lobster shop, well, that whole area was completely under construction, and they had directional signs specific for the lobster shop to bring people around. And so I think that was quite innovative, and it really showed an interest. So, and I would maybe encourage you to perhaps speak with Downtown Moncton Centreville Inc. and bring them along. And I think this will be maybe a good test for what St. George Street residents and businesses can expect as we go to the next phase, which will be the beginning of those transitional sections on St. George Street. So anyway, thank you very much, and thanks for the details. I appreciate it.
I'd just like to add, you're somewhat summarizing my day. We had a meeting with DMCI this morning to talk about this project in Westmoreland, and we also mentioned how this could prepare us for St. George Street, which will be another level. Yeah, thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Great questions, conseiller Légère. Moi, j'ai une question pour vous, René.
Oui.
Donc, ça va se faire durant l'été. Est-ce que ça va affecter les touristes, la saison touristique? Est-ce qu'il y a des événements aussi qui se produisent sur la rue Main? Donc, est-ce que ça va avoir un effet sur ces événements-là?
Oui, donc pour l'échéancier, on parle de début des travaux fin avril jusqu'au début septembre. Donc, c'est sûr, ça tombe dans la période estivale. Par contre, la section de la rue Maine qu'on impacte, c'est de la rue Mécanique jusqu'aux limites de la ville de Dieppe. Donc, c'est pas l'endroit où on bloque la rue Maine, si vous voulez, puis on fait nos événements. Donc, c'est ce qui est l'avantage ici, c'est qu'on pourra quand même avoir nos événements au Centre Yverin, disons le RibFest, la Fête du Canada, etc. Puis ça aura peu d'impact sur l'événement même en termes de piétons. C'est sûr qu'en termes d'accès, oui, l'accès au centre-ville va être un peu impacté parce qu'il y a certains moments où on va avoir des réductions de voies. Mais je le rappelle, ce n'est pas 4 mois de construction intense. Il va y avoir différentes phases et justement, il va y avoir certaines phases qui vont être plus impactées que d'autres, si vous voulez, plus d'impact. Mais oui, il y a très peu d'impact, disons, sur nos événements au centre-ville.
Ça revient. Donc, les voitures qu'on voit sur la rue Maine au mois de juillet, là, tout est correct avec ces gens-là, oui?
Oui, parce qu'on n'impacte pas cette section-là de la rue Maine.
C'est parfait. Merci beaucoup, René. So we have a motion that's been moved and seconded. So now we go to our electronic vote. Merci, unanimous, donc en faveur. Madame
Councillor Butler was absent for the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Il n'est pas là?
No.
Oh, sorry.
10.2 is tender TCS 25012 water treatment plant ozone upgrades. The motion before council this evening is that Moncton City Council approve the award of tender TCS 25012 water treatment plant ozone upgrades to the lowest bidder meeting all terms and conditions and specification being Edgeline Construction Limited for the total tendered price of $17,223,550, including HST at 15%. It is also recommended that a contingency allowance in the amount of $861,177.50, including HST at 15 cents, which is representing 5% of the total tendered price, be established for this project to address any additional construction-related expenses due to unknown site conditions or unforeseen project requirements. It is also recommended that a contract be drafted and the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to sign said contract and affix the corporate seal of the city of Moncton thereto.
Merci, Madame Lagraffière. Could I have a mover and a seconder, conseiller Légère, conseiller Bourgeois? Appuie. Donc, et vous avez une question? Donc,
Non, vas-y.
Merci, Madame le Maire. How are these upgrades, first question, I guess, are these upgrades, as we go along, integrated into the fees charged to Riverview and Dieppe? À chaque fois qu'on a un projet additionnel comme ça, imprévu, etc., est-ce qu'après ça, on se vire de bord puis on dit Dieppe et Riverview, regarde, on est obligé de dépenser 17 millions, donc le taux qu'on va vous charger augmente?
Oui, c'est bien ça. Donc, c'est nous autres on prend soin des actifs, puis ensuite, pour ceci, on va le financer. Puis lorsqu'on va le financer, ça va devenir partie de notre budget opérationnel. Puis ensuite, on va charger nos diètes puis reviews basées sur la formule de cette dette.
Donc, le prêt plus les intérêts, puis vous allez calculer ça sur 10 ans, 15 ans, comment ça marche?
D'habitude, un projet comme ceci, ça va être sur 10 ans.
OK, parfait. Merci beaucoup. Merci, Madame la maire.
Merci, conseiller Bourgeois. So, on the vote, electronic. So it's passed unanimously. Merci.
Next is 10.3. It's a tender TCS 25006, patching of asphalt, concrete paving, Zone A. The motion before council this evening is that Moncton City Council approve administration's recommendation to award tender TCS 25006, patching of asphalt, concrete pavement, Zone A, to the lowest bidder, meeting the terms and conditions and specifications set out in the tender, being Modern Construction 1983 Limited, for the total tendered price of $1,159,890, including HST at 15%, and that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to execute a legal agreement between the city and the successful bidder and to affix the corporate seal thereto.
Merci, Madame la Greffière. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Conseiller Leblanc et conseiller Kingston. Merci. J'ai pas compris. Il n'y a personne. Donc, any questions, please? No questions, donc we go to the vote. Motion passed unanimously. Merci, Madame la Greffière.
The next is another tender for TSC 25007, patching of asphalt, concrete paving, Zone B. The motion before council this evening is that Moncton City Council approve administration's recommendation to award tender TCS 25007, patching of asphalt, concrete paving, Zone B, to the lowest bidder, meeting the terms and conditions and specifications set out in the tender, being MacArthur's Paving and Construction Co., Inc., for the the total tendered price of $1,184,557, including HST at 15%, and that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to execute a legal agreement between the city and the successful bidder and to affix the corporate seal thereto.
Could I have a mover and a seconder for the motion, please? Conseiller Richard? C'est vous qui appuyez la motion? J'entends pas. Donc, conseiller Richard, c'est beau. Merci beaucoup. Donc, j'ai besoin de quelqu'un pour l'appuyer. Conseiller Steves, merci. So, questions? Oh, conseiller Légère.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I know that the program is indicated, it starts on May the 12th and it ends, well, for the arterials, June 27th, and then for everything else in July. What happens between now and May the 12th for a lot of the deep potholes that are out on some of the areas? For example, St. George Boulevard has several major craters. Although I've seen, I saw the truck out a week and a half ago. It looked like it was the machine that we purchased at one time, the whatever it is, the warm asphalt system. I'm just curious. I mean, there are more and more holes. I understand that the roads are deteriorating, but I'd like some confidence that we're going out there patching holes, and how do the general public know that? Because I can tell you, I, over 2 weeks ago, reported the ones on St. George Street. And except for the one that I saw in front of Ford's Pharmacy that they filled, I'm not looking to see that anything, it doesn't look like anything is done. And perhaps there is, and I guess the question is, if it is, then I stand corrected. but I'm just trying to figure out what's in place so that the general public would know.
Mr. Morehouse.
Can you push the button? Right on the, right there. Yep. Well, you didn't push the, there you go, now you.
Am I doing it right? Okay. Good questions. Springtime is obviously a time where we do see these things happen. This year has been a little bit unique compared to other winters. The utility department is another area that generates holes in the road from digging up water breaks. And this year they've had, I believe, 31 of them. So last year we were able to purchase a new recycling unit, which we refer to as our Bigella, and it works, and it has actually generated 400 ton of asphalt over the winter to try to address what you're saying. So there's two categories of holes, ones that are generated from utility cuts, and there's ones that are also generated from our spring breakup pothole situation. So there is crews going out on a regular basis. Whenever the opportunity arrives, that's the first thing we go to every morning. We fire up our recycler unit, and we activate our crews to go and try to fill these holes, right? But the problem is, obviously, there's a priority basis of where we go. So we have to go to where the highest traffic and the highest risk is. So, but you do bring forward a good point. How do we communicate that to the public? At this point, right now, a service request is given to us, which we do recognize when we do receive it, and we try to activate into our work plan to, based upon priority basis, which pothole to fill first or cut is causing the greatest problem. But we could look at, I do agree with you, there is probably other ways to post information on our website or through our social media to help understand we are working at it as fast as we can.
Thanks. No, and I understand that, and we did move forward with a way for the general public to go online and report an item, right? And therefore, it generates the request and so on. But there's got to be visuals as well that we could, even apps are available that you can be on the road and you can tag where the pothole is, and then we should be able to tell the general public that, yeah, you know what, we filled that pothole, and so on. And I think, hopefully maybe we can't do it this year, but maybe we should look at something that comes before council if it's a budget item in the fall, in November, that says, okay, we're going to improve the way that we generate work, and so that the residents can thank staff for doing what it was that they asked them to do, which they did, but right now they don't know unless they happen to, see them really doing it, or somebody mentions it, and so on. So I think that's a gap. The other piece that I would say for this patching season is I'm hoping that somewhere along the line there's coordination between the crews that go out and patch a whole length of street, and then we come up later and we paint the lines, and we don't have lines painted, and then all of a sudden we find this whole patchwork of patching over painted lines, and unless the intent is to go back. I think last year it was a great job in terms of that coordination, so hopefully we can do that again this year. And I think my last point will be, appreciating that it is difficult. It would be nice to be able to have a better idea as to what's being done. But I thank you too for some of the lanes that were changed, the way they were reconfigured. I use St. George Boulevard as an example. You reconfigured the entrance to Bernice McNaughton, and crews went out recently and painted lines again to at least, direct the traffic to try to get them used to that. And I appreciate that, and certainly it's not easy. And I'm not criticizing, but I think it's an opportunity for us to learn to maybe give more information and make it, easier for you, Don, and the crews.
Yeah, no, that's all appreciated. Good feedback. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Merci, Conseiller Legel. No other questions, so we can go to the vote. Electronic. So it's a unanimous vote. Merci à tous. Madame la greffière.
Oui. The next is a tender TCS 25008, Utility Cuts 1. The motion before council is that Moncton City Council approve administration's recommendation to award tender TCS 25008, Utility Cuts, to the lowest bidder meeting the terms and condition and specifications set out in the tender, Birch Hill Construction Limited, for the total tendered price of $699,660, including HST at 15%, and that the mayor and the city clerk be authorized to execute a legal agreement between the city and the successful bidder and to affix the corporate seal thereto.
Merci, Madame la greffière. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Conseillère Leblanc, Conseillère Kingston. On the questions, any questions, please? No? No questions? So on the questions, electronic vote. Motion carried unanimously. Merci, Madame la greffière.
Next is reading of bylaws et lecture des arrêtés municipaux, and council has given me permission to give these two first readings, and they will be posted online at www.moncton.ca if anyone wishes to see them, and we can send them via email, snail mail, whatever way. Just contact the city clerk's office. The first is 11.1. It's a bylaw and amendment of a bylaw relating to the adoption of the City of Moncton's municipal plan, being bylaw Z222.45, zoning bylaw amendment for 2 McLaughlin Drive. It's the first reading. Arrêté portant modification de l'arrêté concernant l'adoption du plan municipal de la ville de Moncton sur l'arrêté Z222.45, modification de l'arrêté de zonage de promenade McLaughlin. C'est la première lecture. 11.2 is a bylaw and amendment of a bylaw relating to the adoption of the City of Moncton's municipal plan, being bylaw Z222.44, zoning bylaw amendments 1430, 1450 Elmwood Drive. It's the first reading. Un arrêté portant modification de l'arrêté concernant l'adoption du plan municipal de la ville de Moncton sur l'arrêté Z222.44, modification de l'arrêté de zonage 1430, 1450, promenade Elmwood Drive. C'est la première lecture.
Merci, Madame la greffière. Prochaine.
Yep. Next is notice of motions and resolutions, avis de motion et de résolution. Le premier, it's the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation. It is in council's package, and it would be in the media's package as well. If we could have a mover and a seconder.
Yes. Could Conseiller Gérard and Conseillère Adjet? Donc, et on passe. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? No questions, so we go to the vote. Motion carried unanimously. Merci.
Next is a resolution for general bylaw officers. Now therefore be it resolved that Ashley Veneris, Oliver Hunt, Tanya Burke, Jose Martin, Caitlin Allen be appointed bylaw officers for the City of Moncton, that they be authorized to enforce any bylaw or any applicable act and regulations and any amendments thereto. Be it further resolved that Ashley Veneris, Oliver Hunt, Olivier Hunt, Tanya Burke, Jose Martin, and Caitlin Allen be authorized to carry out any inspection, enter any land, building, premises, other structures, and dwelling units, and take any such actions, exercise such power, and perform such duties as they may deem necessary, and as may be set out in any bylaw or any applicable act and regulation, and any amendments thereto, to enforce any provisions of any bylaw and any applicable act and regulations and any amendments thereto. And be it further resolved that Ashley Veneris, Olivier Hunt, Tanya Burke, Jose Martin, and Caitlin Allen be authorized to act for and on council's behalf, and are hereby designated and authorized as persons who in name, informations, and in any other proceedings may be laid or commenced for an offense under any bylaw or any applicable act and regulation pursuant to the sections noted in the act referenced above and designated and authorized to issue notice, orders, and demands, and any other similar documents as prescribed by and provided in the Local Governance Act and/or any other act or bylaw of council.
Merci, Madame la greffière. Could I have Councillor Butler, moved, seconded by Conseiller Bourgeois. Any questions? Conseiller Bourgeois?
Merci beaucoup, Madame la maire. C'est juste une question sur, est-ce que c'est des nouveaux postes ou c'est des remplacements? C'est...
Yeah, these are our new hires.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Donc, no other questions, so we'll go to the vote. Electronic. Motion carried unanimously. Merci. So,
Nothing else, just adjournment.
oh,
Oui, la clôture de la réunion.
Conseiller Richard, are you there? Do you wish to adjourn the meeting?
Oui, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, c'est bon. Merci, merci à tous. J'ai pas compris. J'ai rien compris.
Aujourd'hui.
No, it's not today. On a remis à plus tard. MID?
No, municipal plan. The
Oh,
municipal plan.
municipal plan review. C'est pour les municipaux.